using Composer, we're going to create a prod and a dev environment. Both are going to be identical. First, we'll create the dev environment. Now let's create the prod environment. Now we can initialize our dev environment with Docksal. Next, we'll require our dev environment to require the backup and migrate module. You can use your browser to complete the default Drupal setup. Duplicate the setup process in your prod environment and go ahead and complete the Drupal setup forms here. In your prod environment, be sure to install the backup migrate module. In your dev environment, enable the backup and migrate module. Now do the same in your prod environment. Enable the backup and migrate module. Now that the prod environment has the backup migrate module enabled, let's create some content. What we'll do is we'll create a node using the basic pages content type. We just need to type some random text in here to complete this test. This will be content that we will have on prod. Eventually we'll be migrating it from prod to dev in the database. Now let's save the node. And now let's go to the basic site settings and make that page we just created the home page. Just change the default front page to node 1. Now that we have that set as our home page, we're going to verify that the dev environment still has the default home page. Here's the difference between the two, so you can make sure that they're different. Using the backup migrate module on prod, we're going to download a copy of the database. With that saved, we're now going to go to the dev environment and go into the backup and migrate module here. Click the Restore tab. Now select the file that you saved from your prod environment. Click Restore Now when finished. This will start the restoration process. Going back to the front page of our website, of our dev environment, we can see now that we have the prod content in our environment. The next example will show how to migrate a prod database down to a dev database using Docksal. So what we need to do first is update the node that we created that is showing content on our home page. This is so that we have some content to verify that's been copied from our prod environment to our dev environment. After saving the node, you'll see that the new content is here on our prod site. We can verify that it is not there on our dev site. You can type fin db to see a list of commands. The command we're going to use is the dump command. Simply type fin db dump and the location of your SQL file. In our dev environment, once we have the SQL file copied there, we run fin db import and the location of the SQL file. This will import the SQL file into your dev database environment. Be sure to clear the cache of your dev environment. Now let's go back to our dev environment and hit refresh. Once the browser is refreshed, you'll see the content is now there. You'll also notice that we're not logged in anymore. That's because when we imported the PROD database, it killed our local dev sessions. We'll have to log in again in order to do further work. This concludes this demonstration.